program. Of course, in case you're just joining us today, being the Wednesday, we do on the lifestyle segment. Today, we choose to focus on mobile applications just to find out why are the youths nowadays so glued to their phones. There's a variety of mobile apps out there offering so many services and so much that you can do with your phone. And with me in studio to help us understand this topic today, I'm having Evans Kiragu, the CEO of a company known as Mikan Games. Of course, there's another guest who will be joining us shortly. But before then, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Thank you for having me.
I'm finding it very strange. I usually see a lot of IT gurus with specs, and you're the first one I'm meeting who doesn't have specs. Welcome to the program this morning.
Thank you very much.
So you've been in this for a year and 2 months, you're telling me?
Yes, exactly.
But, you know, nowadays we see a lot of youths glued to their phones all day, in matatus, in the house, everywhere, in their office and all that, meaning that there is something that the phone has started offering that was not there before. Being that you've been in this field for quite a while, tell me how has it shaped up from then to now, mobile applications? What are some of the changes that you've noticed as we go by?
At its simplest, I'd say that a while back there was the internet, which was just a portal having all this information. And when you wanted to get a piece of information from the internet, you had to go and sit down and search, then you go deep into the internet and deeper so for you to get your content. And so mobile apps, basically what they started doing is getting this specified content and putting it in one package, then putting it on your phone. Let's say, for example, you want to learn how to work out, how to do exercises. You'd actually go on the internet and start searching for these workout routines and all that. But someone somewhere saw that there is a need to simplify all this information. And so what they did is develop an application that will just entail all this, then give it to someone as a single package. And at the same time, try and make money from that process. Exactly. So
it actually specified the content that we get.
Yes.
In case you're a lover of games, you can have applications for that. In case you love movies, there's applications for movies and all that.
Exactly.
Wow. So yes, we know what apps are. We use them every day. But what would you say, which words would you use to describe what mobile applications are?
I'd say that a mobile application is an optimized software that is specially designed to run on any wireless telecommunication device or a machine. By a machine, I mean a laptop or a PC, but it's basically a software that it's actually very light. It's a light software. It doesn't involve that much processing of the computer. So it's a very small software. On average, we see apps ranging from 30 MB all the way to around 50, depending on the mobile device, but that's the average. So it's a very small software compared to the early times where a software will be like 1 GB. So it's a very compact software that is light and can run on wireless devices. That's a mobile application.
That's the simplest definition you can give us.
Yes.
You promised you're going to make this lighter for us, so keep your word.
Okay.
And just as we continue this discussion, what would you say are some of the most common mobile applications that you've had to see people use out there, the ones that people love? Yeah.
About 5 years ago, when Facebook was making an entry into Kenya, it was obviously the first mobile application. They started introducing mobile application around that time, and it definitely is among the top mobile applications up to date.
Up to date.
Yes,
it's only been 5 years. It seems like it's been a century.
Yeah, that's the essence of an application. You don't have to. You actually even forget the sense of time
because it becomes so part involved. Of our lives.
Exactly, it's a part of our lives. Then there's Twitter, there's Google Plus. At most, social media applications are the ones that are making the hugest impact in our lives and the biggest entry in the Kenyan space, in the world space, actually. Yes. And
just like what I'm saying, it has become like part of our lives. And when I was introducing this conversation, I touched on the aspect that most people nowadays, especially the young generation, spend most of their time on their phones and on their digital gadgets. What would you say, what has this done in terms of shaping the lives of the youth? How has it affected their livelihoods?
Definitely, number one is our access to information.
Yeah.
I mean, it's become from, let's say, like personally, I own a company, and what I did in order to establish the company is I simply used an app to know the process that I'm supposed to follow. You see, 10 years ago, if I was to do the same process, I was actually able to get that information in less than 10 minutes. But 10 years ago, in 10 minutes, I wouldn't even have gotten past a lawyer's secretary, you know. So it has simply simplified the internet information into a bit of a compact package. And so information has become easy for the youth. The youth is able to learn from mobile applications. The youth are able to get jobs through mobile application. Like personally, I'm in the mobile application industry, and it's an industry that has just come up a couple of years ago. So that's more jobs for us. It has enabled us to express our creativity. In that sense, I'm talking about mobile app designers, mobile app developers. We are all creative content developers, and through this new industry, we're able to express ourselves. And the app that you're using is obviously from someone's mind. It has the most, from the way us as Kenyans are embracing the mobile application, is that one huge aspect is that it has enabled us to sort out, to solve our social problems. Talk about M-Pesa, talk about Airtel Money, talk about basically any application that is sorting out the problems, yeah.
Making life easier.
Exactly, making life easier for the youth. Not even the youth, basically just anyone, but mostly the youth, because these smartphones are not owned by some. There are some who...
You'll be surprised.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's one here in studio who surprised us this morning.
The largest percentage is on the youth.
Yeah.
And the youth are the ones that are using these applications. If I was to design an application, I design it specifically for the youth. If a youth can understand it, I'd have sorted the problem. Yeah.
So majorly, mobile apps are mostly used by the youth, but still they can be used by the older generation.
Yes.
You've touched on most of the positive aspects of what has come with it, access to information, making life easier and all that, solving social problems and all that. But on the negative side, there's also certain impacts that have come with these. You know, spending so much time online and or even access to that information. What information are you accessing? Probably just touch on also the negative side, just to be a bit balanced.
Well, obviously, number one on that list is the biggest problem that the internet has faced. You see, with the development of mobile applications, it's basically just a small child to the internet. And the number one problem on the internet is obviously the big problem that we have of cyberbullying. If social media is going to be accessible on the mobile device, then cyberbullying is going to find a way through your phone. And that's what's happening. You get guys who are being bullied on the internet. Even apart from that, likewise, theft is happening the same way, because if I'm having a mobile app that's supposed to do some bit of transaction of money or anything, it basically opens me up as a developer to hackers and all that. If they can gain access on my platform, that obviously means that my users will get affected.
Yeah. And
so it obviously affects my users and likewise my reputation. And so the cyberbullying, the internet theft, there's what parents like to call, I can't remember the name, but the way that kids get access to bad information, bad people. You see guys being talked to, and they're being told to meet up with someone, then someone is kidnapped, and all that. Basically just some not so good intentions in people's minds are finding their way into mobile applications, because the fact that you're interacting with your mobile device means that you cannot see the face behind. And if you cannot see the face behind, as human beings, we are told that we judge people according to our facial expressions. And if you cannot see that, you are definitely going to trust the person. And the person on the other side is necessarily not going to be a good person. And that's what happens.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
But of course, the intention, the ultimate goal was for good.
Yes.
So these are just things that come across the way.
Yes.
They say with every good thing, there's a bad side.
Definitely.
So tell me a bit about, describe some of the projects that you've worked on, the proudest projects that you can say as a software, as a mobile app developer you've worked on, and probably what worked well for those kinds of projects.
As a mobile app developer, I focus mainly on mobile games. That's what Mikan Games does as a company. And we launched last year in July, and we developed a game called Wings of Fury. Wings of Fury was a game that was basically developed to focus on the international market, because the Kenyan gaming industry is not as developed, but we equally wanted to tap into it. So the best way to do that was to develop a game that was internationally based. It was a racing game. And that was actually our biggest success. We were lucky because as a company that's starting up, for your first project to go big, it's really, really hard. But for us, we were lucky, and we thank God for that.
By big, you mean?
By big, I mean that within about 3 months, we had actually gotten about 25,000 downloads.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd be honest with you and tell you that most of the downloads were not from Kenya. We actually got the most downloads from Nigeria and other parts of the world. Like I said, the Kenyan gaming industry is not as developed. We are working on it, but it's going to take time because it's an industry that you have to literally take from the ground. So it takes time. So basically, that was the most profitable project that we've worked on. That was back in November last year. For the past 6 months, we've been working on our product, a new game actually, for the Android devices and Microsoft devices, a game called Craving Carrots. You see, now the thing about the Craving Carrots is a game that's really fun for all genres and gaming audiences, I'd say, in all ages. And so Craving Carrots is a game that's available on the Play Store. You just go to the Play Store and you search for Craving Carrots. It's a game by a Kenyan developer. You can play the game. There are new amazing features that we put in a game for, like, let's say, for example, the game that's Craving Carrots that's on the Play Store. When you play the game and you finish a level, we are actually rewarding the player. Like, we ask for your email and we'll be able to send to you gifts. We're taking gifts from lunch vouchers to cut-off fees, in not exactly fees, but prizes from supermarkets. So we reward all our users.
Amazing, amazing stuff you're doing there.
Yeah.
So tell me about what goes into, coming up with a mobile app. There are people out there, watching and they would love to be in the mobile app industry. What goes into, setting up, starting out and making sure that you push your app to reach out to the audience that you wish to target? Probably from your experience, what lessons can you share with us?
One belief as mobile app developers and people who work on the internet space believe is that regardless of your age, regardless of your profession, regardless of your ambitions, provided you have internet connection and a laptop, you can pretty much build anything. That's the first thing that you need to have. You need to believe that it's actually possible. Once you have that, obviously you need to get your ideas straight. If you have, most mobile applications are based on problems in society. And so you need to identify a problem that you can solve. If not a problem, then you must, at least, if you foresee a problem, develop an app for that. Then you need an appropriate team. By a team, I mean that for you to develop a mobile application, it's just not all about sitting down and programming. That's not really the case. You see, there has to be a programmer. Programmer is basically a person who creates the functionality for the application. When you press a button and it shows maybe a pop-up, that's a bit of programming. You need a person who's experienced in design. By design, I mean that if an icon is on the top left corner of an application, it's somebody who has purposely put it there for it to be there. So you need a designer on the team. You need guys who are going to go out in the field and test the applications, give it to actual users, collect data, bring it back to the team so that you can make changes for it to be best suited for the users. And this is not really a skill, but it's actually a requirement. You need to be very committed because developing a mobile application is just not you sitting down for like 2 hours and you're done. It's not you sitting down for 1 hour.
How long does it take?
It will depend. Personally, for me, who develops video games, a video game can take from a month all the way to 6 months to develop.
6 months coming up with one.
Developing on the complexity of the game.
Okay.
Like our recent project took us from 6 months ago, and we're launching it this coming. It's actually on the Play Store, but we're launching it on Friday at the Blaze Summit happening at Nyayo Stadium. And so it depends on the complexity of the application. And it also depends on the problem you're trying to sort out. Because personally, let's say I've identified a problem and I want to sort it. It will depend on your approach. If you approach it using route A, then you finish the application. And you take it to the users, and they prefer that you sort the same problem using route B. You see, you have to backtrack.
You go back. And
you start all over again. But at the end of the day, you have to make sure that the end user is satisfied with the product, because these are the same people who are going to use the application. And so it's very important, even before you start building an application, go to the users. Do a study. Get to know what exactly they face, why they face it. Get them to do recommendations on how best to sort out the problem. And from that, you can start working out your flowchart. Know where you're going to attack and know the time scale it's going to take and all that. You just have to plan, basically. But however, despite all that, you can actually do it alone. It's possible. It's possible. Yeah, it's possible.
If you have the stamina and all the skills that you need.
Yes.
Tell us, in case now, from where you sit, in case somebody is interested in developing an app, you're saying very important, you need to identify a problem in the society, a problem that your app will bring a solution for. Probably what are some of the problems that you see that somebody who is maybe interested in making an app would think, just as an eye-opener, would think in that direction and try to come up with an app, a problem that your app will bring a solution for. probably what are some of the problems that you see that somebody who is maybe interested in making an app would think, you know, just to, as an eye-opener, would think in that direction and try to come up with an app on that, or something that you're thinking about? We wouldn't want to steal your idea, but just tell us, share with us.
Personally, for me, let me just say a problem that I believe I sorted, from a very young age, I was interested in video games, but I had to find a way to put the business aspect in a video game, because you're trying to make profit from this video game. So what I did is, I one day entered a matatu, and I was traveling along the Thika Superhighway. I was in a matatu, and it was actually my time to alight. So I stood up, and I took a brief moment, and I observed the guys in the matatu. And what I noticed is that basically everyone had their phones on, and they were looking at them. And so it got me thinking, all these people are on their mobile devices. I didn't really know what they were doing. Maybe someone on WhatsApp, maybe others were playing video games. And I saw that everyone was on their mobile devices. Then I looked outside, and I saw that there are billboards outside. Like, Thika Superhighway is full of billboards. Every single spot has a billboard. Then I thought to myself, companies are spending millions of shillings to put up these billboards, where they're putting up advertisements on their products. But in real sense, the people who are supposed to see these advertisements, they're not looking at the billboards, they're on their mobile devices. So that's a problem, because they're just spending a lot of money for nothing. The percentage that is going to see their adverts is slowly decreasing with time as mobile applications are making their way into the industry. So what I decided to do is develop video games and find a way for these same companies who are putting their advertisement on billboards to advertise their products in the game. And with the success of our first video game, what we did is we approached some of these companies, and as I said, it was a racing game. So as you're racing along the route, you actually see a billboard in the game having the same advertisement that you'd have seen on the road. You see, now that's basically taking the advertisement and putting them exactly where the users are focusing. And that's a problem that you've sorted. So it's basically a new way of advertising that is focusing on the new trends. If I want to advertise, why put it on a billboard when everyone else is focusing on a mobile device? So put the advert in a mobile device. Problems are just everywhere. You just have to take time and look at it, and just have a clean mind. Ask people. And I'd be honest with you and tell you that it will depend. If you want to really find a real problem, don't go to the I'd say, well-off areas. Go to where the majority of the people is, which is the middle class and the lower class. Talk to those people. See the way they operate. If you see someone who has to wake up at maybe 5 a.m. to go to the shop, how about you find a way to make them order the same product and to be delivered for their convenience, because no one likes waking up at 5 a.m.
True.
Yeah, so you just have to take your time and observe people. Then you'll find your niche and develop an application for that.
Of course, if you develop an app that solves a problem, then it will be like people will be looking for it. Because it brings a solution.
That's why it's really important that it solves a problem. Because
not just for the sake.
So, though actually some do make it just for the sake. It doesn't really have an agenda, but it goes big. But the success rate is really low.
Really low. So tell us about the qualifications that one needs to have to be in this industry, to exist, in terms of, you know, what do I need to study and what do I need just to be a mobile app developer?
Well, one of the first things is that you need to be ahead of the game. By being ahead of the game, I mean that you're operating in the internet space. So the internet is global. So people you're competing with, you're not competing in the Kenyan space. You're competing in the global scale. So I'd say that personally for me, I didn't have to go to school to be taught this. It was basically me and the internet, YouTube, tutorials, just getting to learn how mobile apps are developed.
How do you learn to program something online just like that? I mean,
the commitment is just the passion, you know. You just sit down and get like 100
coding
videos.
And all those things. Wow.
Just you watch like 100 videos, you code, you find bugs, you debug. It's really hard when you're starting out, but you have to start from somewhere. You have to start from somewhere. So you need the skill. Right now, as it is, there are schools in Kenya that offer the mobile programming skills. So you can actually attend one of those. But either way, programming is a skill that runs the internet, so it develops constantly. The same code that worked today might not work tomorrow. So in as much as you have the educational qualifications, you need to constantly be updating yourself. Go to the internet, learn a new skill, learn a new way of doing something, just constantly be at the top of your game. And from that, now you can start planning how to develop a video game. But the skill is just very important, because as the mobile apps are developing, better and better developers are coming in the game. So you cannot simply afford to just sit down.
Just settle for what is there.
Exactly. You cannot
to
like
constantly
just,
refresh
like,
the skills.
2 years ago, mobile apps were in the market, yes. But as it is right now, we are going into the VR generation. And so if you are planning to venture in the mobile application in the next 10 years to come, you never know. This is the internet. Anything can happen. So you need to be open-minded and know that you might have to learn a new skill every single day. Yes.
VR generation, virtual reality.
Yes.
I told you to bring this, you know, down for people to understand. So there's also a question I wanted to ask you. Yes, you've done apps before and all that. Was there a time you've ever made an app that was like, you'd say it didn't work out? Yeah. And probably what are some of the things that you planned to do to change that situation?
Yes, there are actually a couple of applications that I've made that didn't really go that big. Let me give you an example. A while back, I made a mobile application that, I don't know if you can remember, but there was a time, a couple of, I think, if not years, then months back, that there was a situation where a house help mishandled a kid. It was in the news. Remember exactly.
Yeah.
So at that time, it was a problem. So I developed this application that basically involved 2 mobile devices, because as it is right now, the middle class and the lower class, you can't really tell someone to install CCTV in their mobile homes. You see.
True.
So what I did is I used 2 phones. I programmed an application whereby the parent can leave one phone at home, just placed anywhere, provided the camera is facing, I don't know, maybe the living room. Then from where they are, they can, if they feel that something is not okay, they can send a mobile text from this one application on the mobile devices to the other mobile device. And automatically the mobile device at home, it's going to switch on the camera and it's going to start recording whatever is going at home.
Happening in the house.
Yeah, without anyone knowing. I mean, this is just a mobile phone. It's just somewhere. It's going to start recording whatever is going on. And when you feel that it's okay now, you can send a text back to the phone. It's going to stop recording. Likewise, you can do the same for audio. If you just want the audio bit to be recorded, you can do the same if you just want just a picture to be taken. And you see, the thing is about that.
Wouldn't that be used to infringe privacy at some point?
Exactly. That's actually the point, because as I was trying to push it into the market, people were like, okay, the main agenda is to use it at homes.
For security purposes.
Yeah, somebody somewhere.
Other people would use them to infringe other people's space.
And from that, it didn't really go as well, because
it didn't work out.
Guys were not open to the idea of surveillance. And so that was a crash.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Evans, as we are about to bring this to a close, quickly, security, just address the issue of security, because some people find a problem securing their data on their phone and their digital gadgets. So, give us a bit of an eye-opener in terms of security. What do you do to make sure that my data on my phone is safe, it's not hacked?
As a developer, that's really, it's basically an essential part of any application. If actually you're going to ask for data from a user, you actually don't just develop an application and put it in the Play Store for that. Google actually come after you, and you have to tell them exactly where that application is going to store the data, where it's going to be pushed and everything else. So you have to fully explain. We're actually being held accountable for that by Google, by Microsoft. When you're submitting an application to be put in the Play Store, they actually ask you if this information is the way it's supposed to go and everything. But likewise, from inside, we actually do encryption on this mobile application, so such that if we're asking for your email, it's not going to be hacked or anything else. We're actually doing our best. But at the same time, we're involving security agencies to come and bring in their, we call them APIs, in the mobile application, where now they can handle the data and make sure that all this data is not going anywhere that's going to be misused for any used for any malicious purposes. But I'll be honest with you and tell you it's a challenge, because as we are developing applications, somebody's doing the same thing but backwards. So it's a constant run that we always have to be on point also.
Okay, your final remarks, 30 seconds.
My final remarks is that as a company, we've developed a video game called Craving Carrots that's available on the Play Store as of this moment. You can go download it. It's a Kenyan game. Get to play it and get to know what we're doing at Mikan Games. And likewise, this coming Friday, that's the 30th of September, will be at the Blaze Summit at the Nyayo Stadium. Come at the Innovation Board, get to know what it takes to develop a video game, and maybe be part of the team and be part of this movement that we want to develop video games and in general mobile applications in Kenya. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Evans. We hope to have you again one of these days. And thank you for keeping it Good Morning Kenya. Don't go anywhere. There's more coming your way, a conversation about the BAT African Literature Awards, and also a conversation on what is happening in our roads and just to improve road safety in Kenya. You don't want to go anywhere. Keep it right here. My name is Safin Aching Ouma.